Hi, it's Darcy from the Purposeful and today we're talking about your dehydrator and how to test the temperature. Welcome back to my channel. First, let me say thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And before we get started, let's talk about why you actually might want to test your dehydrator. If you buy a brand new dehydrator, you pull it out of the box, you turn it on, and it just starts going, you're more than likely going to be okay to know that any of the increments on your temperature dial are going to be fairly accurate. However, you might want to check before you get started just in case. More importantly, if you get a secondhand dehydrator, either from Facebook Marketplace or a friend gave you an old one they don't use anymore, or you got it from a thrift store, you need to check that dehydrator before you get started. You don't know how it was taken care of. You don't know how long it's been in storage that may not have been good. You just want to make sure that when you turn it on and you turn it to 95, that you're expecting the temperature to be just about 95, so that when you do herbs that you're not over drying them because it gets too hot. You also want to make sure that the temperature that you have for jerky is actually safe enough to dry your jerky. Too many times people might have turned on their machines assuming it's okay, turn it to 155 and find out later that it was only drying at 135, which is not safe for jerky. So that's one great big reason why you want to test your dehydrator. Also, if you happen to pull yours out of storage, if you've been storing it out in the garage or out in the shed, you want to make sure that those big temperature changes that may have happened since the last time that you had your dehydrator out hasn't affected the temperature, but the mechanism that hasn't changed temperature. If it's been in too hot of a condition or if it freezes, that may no longer work accurately, so you can test to make sure. So let me show you how I do it on mine. Let's get started. Welcome to my dehydrating closet. This is my laundry room where I have my dehydrator on top of my dryer. All right, let's talk about the tools that I use to test my machine. I happen to have an Excalibur dehydrator, which is a it is a horizontal flow machine, meaning that my fan goes from the back to the front. You may have a stackable dehydrator where the airflow is from the bottom to the top. This process will work on either machine. I'm going to show you in mine, but then you can figure it out for yours. I'm using an oven thermometer, which is the kind that either hangs on a rack or can sit on a rack. I'm also using a probe thermometer, where it has an extension probe that goes inside the machine, and then the monitor that sits outside the machine. And I will also be using this thermometer, which is a meat thermometer that you would stick in your meat, but you can use it on your dehydrator by letting it run, opening it up, putting this in, turning it on, setting it down, giving it a few minutes for the machine to kind of catch back up where it was, and then you can pull this out and read. Because this runs for 15 or 20 minutes, this is not the best option to leave inside of your dehydrator because this will go to sleep. But it's an option. If that's all you have, this will work. So what I'm going to do is, with my machine, I'm going to pull off the lid, the cover, and as you can see, I have already removed a couple of trays so that my oven thermometer will sit right inside, and I want to keep it to the front of the machine. I don't want to sit it in back by the heater and right where the air comes out. I want to see what the temperature is at this part of my machine. Also, what I'll do is I'll leave my probe right inside as well, not touching this because we don't want those metals touching each other, because it'll push the readings off. And we'll set it here. Put my tray back on. And as you can see, this monitor sits right on the outside, and I'll be able to read it the entire time. Let me make sure that it is actually set to Fahrenheit, because that's how I read, but mine set either way. So we're now going to test my machine at 125, since I usually run it at this temperature most often when I'm doing vegetables, or 135 for fruit, and we're going to watch as it changes. So what's happened is that my machine has heated itself up. I actually heard of an audible click where the temperature had reached about 20 degrees above 125. It clicked and the temperature reduced itself to 125, and now it's fluctuating, trying to keep heat in the machine about where it needs to be. Now remember, the heater core is back here. It has to push all of the air to the front and keep the entire box at about the same rate. But let's go ahead and check the inside thermometer too. Right now you're reading at about 125. Okay. Now if you have a stackable machine, not like the vertical machine here where the horizontal flow is, but you have one that's up and down, you can use this too, laying it here on a sheet, just stack it like you normally would, turn it on. You can also use this probe as well. That will work just as well. So if you want to click down below in the description box, there's a blog post that gives you a little bit more information about doing this, and a printable for the temperature for your dehydrator, what you should be dehydrating at. And also if you'll click in this corner, I believe it'll take you to the next dehydrating video. Thanks for watching. Bye.